Here, there is a very important sub point that you must always do that internal analysis that teaches you what you're good at versus what you're bad at. So let me start today's video by sharing the inspirational story of Nick Vujicic. Now, Nick is an Australian motivational speaker. He speaks in front of thousands and thousands of people and he inspires millions of people across the globe. He has written multiple books. He runs a non-profit. There is a lot of impressive work that Nick has done. His life has been an inspiration not because of the fact that he has achieved so much. That's just one part of the equation. His life is an inspiration because of the transformation that he has undertaken and the number of people that he has influenced. Looking at his life, we can all derive somewhat a framework for happiness that I will share with you on this video. So Nick was born with a rare disease called a tetra-amelia syndrome. In this disease, what ends up happening is that the person is born without any limbs. So they do not have any hands or legs. Needless to say that this was a very complex situation for Nick and his family, and resultantly, he had a very rough upbringing. People used to bully him. He used to get constantly thrashed in school. He did not have many friends growing up. So all these led to a mental breakdown for Nick, to the point that at one stage in his life, he actually thought about committing suicide by drowning himself in a bathtub. But then something magical happened. He turned his life around. He started speaking at a small gathering, and from there on, he picked the motivation to become a good motivational speaker, and he dedicated his life towards that cause. In 2005, Nick founded Life Without Limbs, an international non-profit organization and ministry. In 2007, he founded Attitude is Altitude, a secular motivational speaking company. He went on to write multiple books and he has given multiple talks in front of thousands and thousands of people. In short, Nick's story is very simple, that he overcame massive adversity in his life. He figured out something that he was good at and doubled down on it and inspired millions across the world. Now, there are three specific lessons that you can take out of Nick's life. Number one, you should stop with external validation. Now, in a world where everyone is impressed by social media influencers, when you go on LinkedIn, you can have a serious fear of missing out. In short form, it is called as FOMO. Essentially, when you see your friends posting stuff on Instagram, if they are traveling to Europe. Similarly, when you have your friends posting messages on WhatsApp that they have topped the exam. All this can create serious FOMO and a serious complexity issue in you. So in this day and age, it becomes critical that you don't strive for external validation. How many likes, comments, hearts that you get on your social media post or on your photos. It gets you in a really bad habit of tying your worth with what other people think. Now let me illustrate this through my own example. So I was invited to speak at one of the elite Ivy League colleges in the US, and I was speaking with the students. And during the course of our interaction, I asked them that, why don't you write on LinkedIn? Do you know what the most common response here was? The common response was, so we are scared of writing on LinkedIn because people will judge us as to what we are writing. We are not subject matter experts, and what if we make a mistake? Now, this fear of getting this external validation or the fear of being judged by others, it can prove to be a major detriment for you to getting started in anything that you want to do. Be it playing a sport, be it writing on LinkedIn, be it starting your own venture. It could be anything. Unless you get over the fact that you don't need external validation to go out and do things that you want and like, you will always feel bad about your situation. Knowing that you are the one who has the power to change things for yourself, that puts you in the position of power and actually changes your life. Now, the second lesson is that you should not run on a hedonic treadmill. Now, Mark Manson, in his book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, talks about this concept quite extensively. Just to explain the concept really briefly, what it means is that we are living in a world where we seek constant pleasure. Many of us getting very high marks in our class 10th, that's a sign of pleasure. When we graduate from class 10th, we move on to class 12th. Again, it pushes us to get even higher marks in class 12th. Once that happens, then we go to college. We get into the race of getting high GPA, a high paying job, etc., etc. Our needs and our wants never ends. And basically, we keep on running on a hedonic or pleasure-oriented treadmill. Now, this puts a lot of mental stress on us, and this is a very tiring way of living your life. Now, I'm not saying that you should not run after marks or try to pursue excellence. You absolutely should. This is precisely what even I try to do in anything that I pursue. But this needs to be done in a healthy manner. Now, what do I mean by healthy manner? First and foremost, whenever you are going through that grind of getting high marks or getting a high-paying job, don't consider the process as painful. You should enjoy the process of studying. You should enjoy the process of preparing for a good job. That is critical, because having that negative mentality in terms of preparing for an exam or having that negative mentality in looking for a job search, it can really weigh you down and suck out happiness out of you. So make sure that you smile even when you are fighting through a very tough period in your life, because all of us go through our own personal struggles, make sure that you put in adequate effort and you reward yourself for even putting in the effort. That is a very important component of being happy. So what I'm essentially pointing out here is very simple, that you should not just look at the end result or end goal. You should also enjoy the journey along the way. And if you have put in your heart and soul in that journey, and if you have done exceedingly well in putting in the requisite effort, you should reward yourself for undertaking that journey and undertaking that pain. Now, this is something that Nick has not said, but I'll try to infer here. For example, in Nick's journey of becoming a strong motivational speaker, I'm sure he would have gone through a lot of pain, a lot of ridicule, but he stuck with it. He enjoyed the process of becoming a strong motivational speaker, and now he's seeing that success. The third and final tip is that you must figure out your legacy and what you're good at. Now here, there is a very important sub point, that you must always do that internal analysis that teaches you what you're good at versus what you're bad at. Every person would be good at a bunch of things, and a person would be bad at a bunch of things. For example, in my case, I would say that, hey, I'm very good at management consulting. I'm very good at business analysis, teaching, things like this. But I'm equally bad at a bunch of different things, be it drawing, be it cooking, be it planning trips, and a bunch of 100 different things that I would be really, really bad at. But the point is that I identified what my strengths are, and I would encourage all of you to identify what you're good at and double down on those strengths. What do I mean by doubling down? For example, in my case, I felt that, hey, I was always good at teaching, so I honed that skill. I learned how to speak publicly. I learned how to convey my idea in a precise, concise manner. So I picked up a skill called as teaching, and I started really honing down on the finer attributes that make a good teacher. In Nick's case, he identified that he was good at motivating people. He was good at speaking. He was good at getting his message across. And these were the skills that he honed, and he turned his life around. At the end, we all want to leave a legacy. It could be through any type of work that you do. In my case, it's teaching. In Nick's case, it's motivating others. You need to identify what you're good at and what legacy would you like to leave. I hope you found this Sunday Positivity series to be inspirational. If you did, please like and comment. It would give me a lot of insights as to what type of content you're liking, and I would continue to shoot similar videos. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the next video.